So we're excited. This is, you know, um, an awesome opportunity, to play in a major bowl game, playing the Sugar Bowl. That's, you know, to me, what I feel like is every, kid when they come up living in the SEC, areas, um, to play in the Sugar Bowl. And to think that, we got here 2 years ago, I just heard the end of Dave's, but maybe similar thing, to think that, we would be in the Sugar Bowl this quickly. It's perspective how awesome it is. And, we're very blessed, to be in this position. I thank God for this, opportunity to come here and the players and how it's all come together. I've kind of told them before, they're like this amazing blended family, that we've got kids that have been here for 6 years, that have talked about the pains they went through. We've got kids that literally got here this fall, including, a starter or two from the transfer portal. And they really are unique family. So awesome opportunity to play a great program in Baylor, one that's extremely well coached, having played against Coach Aranda's defenses before. At I think 3 different places now we played against him just before. So, really great coach. He's done an unbelievable job. Saw the end of their game. We had recruits here, but saw the end and saw his post game on the field and just how he speaks. You can tell his passion for his players and, how it's about them and not himself. So this will be an awesome matchup.
Thank you very much, Coach. We'll now go to questions. Our first question will be from Nick Suss from the Jackson Clarion Herald.
Hey, Lane, I know Alabama's win last night kind of took the drama out of today for y'all, but how did you guys take in the news today? Was there a team celebration or a watch party or anything, or were you kind of out on the trail yourself?
No, we've just been recruiting, and I think a lot of our players, with a weekend finally to go home, have been different places and stuff. So we didn't do anything together. I think that, there was a lot of, if you took guesses of where you're going, that was going to be the Sugar Bowl. So I think that, I don't think there was a whole lot of surprise there. So we're excited about it. Couldn't, pick a better bowl to be in, and one that I would certainly think our fans will travel to, and we'll go. And much like I said, at the end of the season, come support the team. It's your last chance, to see them together and to see Matt. And now you got one more chance to do it, in one of the biggest bowls in the world.
You've coached in this bowl before, coached in a lot of bowls like this before. What do you say to the players about handling pressure for a lot of them who haven't played in a New Year's Six type game before?
I haven't thought that far. You're getting ready talk for the game. I haven't even, again, we've been recruiting. I haven't processed any of that. I hadn't even thought about having been there before and the players not having been there. So I'll figure that out.
Next question is John Sokoloff from WCBI.
Hey, Lane. I just wanted to, you've been at so many other, not so many other, but you've been at other, programs in the past. So now, obviously, here at Ole Miss, going to a game like this, like Nick just said, you've had experience going to games like this before. But this exact group, how does it compare to other groups that you've had in the past? And what makes them that unique family that you talked about?
Well, like I said before, we're still processing. It just came in, and there's a lot of stuff going on. We've got recruits here and SEC championship game, and the contract stuff, and just a lot of personal stuff involved with that is outside of myself and about our program in there. When you get the details of it, and assistant coaches and administration, support staff, and the funding for them so that we can do this thing at a really high level is in there as well. So it wasn't just some personal contract that the head coach gets paid. There was a lot of work into that. So as far as, like I've said, the players are a unique group. They've really come together from different age groups and how long they've been here. quarterback from California, all these different, elements coming together, and our staff too, and having some staff turnover just a year ago. It's just been a really neat story, and it's really, really neat to watch, and just really excited to be a part of it. As far as other groups, again, I hadn't thought about any of this till you just said it. This would be the first major game, DCS Bowl, Sugar, Rose, Orange, that have been to these before, never as the head coach. So, that's pretty neat too. Just hadn't thought of it that way. So we're gonna have a lot of time to figure this out, with almost a month before the game. So.
What did it mean to you to kind of get that contract extension done? And was there any doubt that you were going to stick around to stay as the Ole Miss head coach? And what does it mean to still be there and get it done and be there for years to come?
Well, I think sometimes people don't understand these things, sometimes have been in the works for a while. And this had been a long time, just happened to be finalized and announced yesterday. So, like I said, this was not just about me. This was a lot of getting things in place, which, the Keith and the Chancellor were all about. We just had to get it all, talked about, and it takes time. And a big part of that is making sure all the things in place in the future for the players from a facility standpoint, and then for the coaches to make sure that, we're able to keep these guys around and compete at the highest level, which is what we're trying to do, not just for 1 year like we did this year and have, 10 wins and all these accomplishments, but to do this for a long period of time takes all those things in place. You don't continue to win at that level, just because you hit 1 year and have a hot quarterback and different things. If you're going to do it for a long period of time, especially in the SEC, you got to have everything else in place.
We'll go to Neil McCready from Rebel Grove.
Hey, Lane, you mentioned coaching staff. I was curious, how confident are you that you're going to be able to retain the staff that you've had? How much are you having to kind of prepare for potential departures for people getting other jobs?
Well, I've said it before, this is when you win, and especially to me, when you win with style that people watch, they say, okay, hey, I want to go buy that system, that style. And I'm not saying we're Alabama, but that's a lot of times why you see so many coaches leaving Alabama is people want to go get what they're doing. And so we lost coaches a year ago to when we first got to Alabama, and then last year to Texas, Oklahoma. So I don't take it personal. It's part of the business, when you're doing really well, because the players are playing really well, your assistant coaches, people want to come get them. So like I said about the head coach, it's the same thing. If you're losing, a lot of people trying to come take your coaches. So it's a good problem to have. It's one we have to deal with, and we'll always find the best ones out there. And, there's a good chance we may lose one this year. So there's all kinds of factors that go into why coaches leave. And so I understand that.
We'll go to Trey Isles from PSP Sports.
Elaine, you mentioned about going up against Coach Aranda before. It's been a few years, but how much does that benefit you as you begin to prepare for Baylor? Will you be able to look at some things that you did before against him, and will it benefit you this time?
I don't think so. I think, and I've not watched them yet, but I know our system is so much different than it was years ago. I believe even back to, I think it was at Utah State a long time ago. We played at USC and Wisconsin, at Alabama, LSU at Alabama. So he's done I remember a stat in my head about one time we played them, and it had been 5 years in a row. They were the only defense to be in the top 10 in the country in rush defense or something like that, if I remember right. And there was only one team in America, only one common thing in America, and it was him, where he had been. The different schools. So just unbelievable job, and really gives you a lot of problems.
We have time for two more. Next is Mitch Davis.
Coach, quick question for you. what does this mean to your program? Obviously, this is big time for your program, especially for recruiting. But also, how do you use this in recruiting pitches? Early signing days coming up. What do you say to those recruits in those living rooms to get them to come to Ole Miss?
You're referring to as the game or in general?
The game and in general, how big the game is for your program going forward.
Well, it's huge. I mean, we knew that, after winning the Egg Bowl that, we were going to be in a, major, New Year's Six game. So it was just a matter of which ones. We were already selling that and recruiting that. Hey, here we are in our second year already doing that. And just left a meeting right here with the recruit, and I just say, hey, this is a lot easier than 1 year ago, especially 2 years ago, sitting here, on a Sunday after official visit. And basically we had to paint a picture and say, okay, here's the house you're going to buy. It's not built yet, but here's a drawing of it. And that's basically saying, hey, we're going to win here. We're going to have this great offense. We're going to be explosive. We're going to get turnovers on defense. It's going to be really fun to play here. You're going to watch us on TV and, see this style of play. Well, we had to paint that picture because there wasn't proof here of that. And now it's like, okay, hey, they come now and it's like, okay, they can see the house. Here's, if you want to buy it, at least you can walk through it because we're already doing it. So it does make it a lot easier.
Our final question will come from the line of Brett Martell from the Associated Press.
Hey there, Lane. I remember you saying that people need to see Matt Corral while they still can, and it's my understanding he's going to be good to go for this game. But what do you think? What are your feelings on being able to, if he does play, coach him in one last good game and in a bowl game? And just all that he's meant to the team this season, and what your hopes are for him in this game.
Yeah, he's a special kid, and just a special relationship. I just watched him, go over to the band and the fans after the Egg Bowl, and almost got emotional, and I had to remind myself I got one more with him. So that wasn't the last one, but I don't know exactly why the bond is what it is. People have said, the California thing, or, we both, USC didn't want either of us. They got rid of him and me both. But I just love seeing how far he's come. I love stories. Just had a recruit also ask, what do you like most about coaching? Is when you see a transformation in a college kid, whether that's him or Sam Williams. It's just really neat to see that and be a part of it. He's just such a great leader and such a great kid. Just really proud of him and glad to be his coach.